Um, I will invite Sai from my team. You are already introduced to her, an amazing person and a great tech writer. She is just in the tech writing for 2.5 years, but I can already say she is already a pro. So, welcome, Sai, and over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shruparna. That was very, very nice to hear. So, hi, folks. Rajkiran, you have raised your hand. Would you like to say something?
My bad. I was trying to click on the clap
All
smiley and I clicked on the hand. My apologies. Please continue.
All right, no worries. So, continuing with the theme that Shruparna has just introduced to us, I will be presenting a very beautiful project that we undertook at Razorpay. It is called Creating Integration Videos, and I will start presenting my screen in just a moment, please.
Sai, you may want to switch off your video because I think there's a bandwidth issue at your side.
Sure, sure, I'll do that. All right. So I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, it's
Yes.
visible.
Okay, thank you. So the project that I term very beautiful is for a reason, because there were a lot of learnings. There was a solid problem statement we wanted to tackle, and we were able to do it successfully. And I will be walking you through what exactly this project was, why did we undertake it, and what came out of it along with our learnings. The agenda for today will be tackling the problem statement, looking at what solution we arrived at, what is the process that we undertook to tackle the problem, what challenges we came across when we were continuing with the process, the plan that we made, and the impact of the changes that we made, and finally, of course, the learnings. Let's get started on a very light-hearted note with a meme. I'll give you all a moment to look at this meme. There is a drowning hand that is saying confused, overwhelmed developers, and somebody is trying to hi-fi it. It looks like they're coming to help, but it turns out they're just hi-fiing them. And the hi-fi turns out to be a symbolism for long and lengthy documentation, which leaves our developers more overwhelmed, more confused, and frustrated. It is very lighthearted when we look at it in hindsight, but when we encountered this problem, we were very, very confused. We were completely lost because we were doing so many things to get documentation right, and it turns out our developers were not at all happy with it. They were escalating on social media everywhere. They always raised support tickets. The volume of support tickets for each and every integration that they attempted was very, very high. They constantly reported that they were unhappy, they were frustrated because the integration was not successful at all. And so when we digged into the entire problem, we understood that there's complex information that's spread across many, many pages. We also revamped our documentation design, the site design. But prior to that, the old design did not allow for much intuitive scrolling and navigating. The most common feelings we understood of the developers were frustration, confusion, and a lot of overwhelmed feeling of not being able to get things right. And the key learning, the key finding here was that developers were not willing to read drawn out long pages. We understood that developers were more keen on getting to the code first and foremost, and when the code is hidden within long documentation, it doesn't make sense that developers will even go touch the documentation at all. That brings us to the solution we identified, which was to create integration videos. We also understood from integration calls itself that developers prefer videos. Why? Because it gives them a bird's eye view of the entire integration from the start to the end. And it also gives them the confidence because somebody else is doing it right. So we can copy them, we can understand how they are getting it right. And so we can also try to implement it on our end. And of course, the final thing is that tutorials are accessible to each and every developer across various skill ranges. So we realized integration videos were something that we need to get started with. And so we made a plan for it. The process was we were going to create multiple integration video types across e-commerce plugins, checkout integration across 7 and even more programming languages. We also started creating integration videos with checkout using SDKs. We wanted to document the successful integration process, and we were also keen on having voiceover along with closed captioning for all of our videos. And we did it. We made many videos. We started off with one or two, and we ensured that they were as accessible to developers as possible. We had them on YouTube, publicly available with a simple YouTube search or even a Google search. We were very SEO friendly. We ensured that was done. We also embedded these videos on our documentation site so that whenever people are coming to the documentation, they know that the video tutorial is right there at the very beginning. This is the start of the page, as you can see. And you can see that video tutorial is right in the face there. It's not hidden away with a scroll, nothing of that sort. So even if people wanted to start reading it, they could do it. But if people wanted to watch, this was right there. We did run into a couple of challenges while we were taking undertaking the project. First of all, we were not aware of which tool we wanted to choose to start creating these videos. We also were not sure of the template, what are the tutorial best practices. We were just reading everything in theory, but we didn't know how exactly people were used to watching tutorials. We also had a lot of input from the marketing team that kept getting revised again and again as to how we want to brand these videos. We also tried to figure out how YouTube works, because there's closed captioning, sectioning, and other sort of transitions and animations happening on YouTube, which we didn't have much insight into. We also had to create a proper story for the integration video. Otherwise, if it is very broken and inconsistent, people will not be able to sit through the video for a very long time. They will drop off, and it will be the same problem repeated all over again. We sat with integration teams for the user calls, where we looked at the developer trying out the integration and understood what are the key areas where developers were facing friction in uh, getting the integration done. And of course, we know integration processes are long, they're complex, they're like very, very drawn out. And if we're going to make the video equally long, there's no way a developer would be willing to not only tackle long documentation but also sit through even longer videos. So how do we shorten them? We had to sit and brainstorm, come up with a proper template, a proper storyline, a proper script for everything that we were doing. That brings us to the plan. After brainstorming, after collaborating with multiple teams, we understood that we are going to release all of these videos in phases. We released at least 2 or 3 videos per month, or even more sometimes, when we realized that, okay, we've gotten a hang of the process. We know how to do things better now. We were mentally prepared. We had resources allocated. Let us say a video failed, developers were not fond of the video, they didn't find it intuitive. So we were mentally prepared, had the resources to ensure that we bounce back quickly and prepare the kind of video that the developer would actually want to look at. And then we also were ready with instrumentation. We were readily monitoring feedback. We were looking at support tickets and the kind of feedback that we were receiving from developers themselves. It took around 2 to 3 months to get things right. There were a lot of back and forth happening between multiple teams. Marketing came back with other revisions. There were other inputs from other teams. Tools had to be installed. Tech writers had to get training to be familiar with the tool, understand how to make videos and all of that. And finally, the work it paid off. It paid off very well. We're very glad that the video that we made ultimately was received fairly well. These are the kind of responses we received. The videos were very short and to the point. We did not beat around the bush a lot. We we understood that people were liking our videos, that we were actually catering what the developers need. We also had another uh, feedback here saying that the issue has been resolved very easily with the video, and they're very grateful. Another key feedback we received, make a video in Hindi also. because there's not a lot of people who are integrating using English as their main language. They're not communicating in English as the primary language. So we did that too. We picked up videos. Uh, we started creating videos in other languages as well, primarily Hindi. And yes, if we're going to talk about the numbers, we understood that the integration teams had seen a sharp 50% reduction in the number of integration tickets. People were very happy to look at the video. People were finding the video helpful. They understood how to integrate from the start to the finish. And any other comments that they had, any issues they were facing there, they were, of course, again reaching out to the integration team. But the basic product gap, the knowledge gap between how to integrate was now effectively resolved. We published three made videos in a single month, and all of those videos received above 15K views in just a single month. So you can imagine the kind of weight that developers were going through, and the way that we were able to deliver them, meet them where they wanted us to meet them, to understand their problem and give them a solution that will help them feel more empowered in attempting the integration. The first 50% I'm talking about is integration tickets, which refers to programming language wise integrations. There are other integrations, like I mentioned, which was e-commerce integration, where you are integrating Razorpay payment gateway with online store like Shopify or Magento. Those integration videos, the tickets that we used to receive there were reduced by at least 80%. So that is a huge number. And all of this was happening in parallel to us creating more and more integration videos. Here are some more numbers. We have 33 videos that we've created across at least 2 years, 3 years actually. And we are regularly updating the videos. You can see the last video went out in on July 7th. We have accumulated at least 4.3 lakh views across 3 years, 50% of reduction, and that is month on month. We understood that there are people who are actually watching them, and they are actually getting helped. We are able to help them in understanding the product and the integration. uh, and this number I've quoted here was the initial number. With just three videos we were able to see such a number, and across all videos on an average there are at least 20K views. That means that people are willing to watch, they will continue to watch, and that we have to put in the efforts to keep creating more videos to help them be more confident with what they do. There is some other impacts also, because the original problem statement was to help developers perform a successful integration, and that gave us some good numbers, some good insights that ticket volumes have obviously decreased. But there was another good advantage that came out of doing this, which was that the brand visibility and the brand loyalty, the kind of goodwill that Razorpay it has boosted a lot. People understood that we were willing to do the work to help them, and that gave us a lot of goodwill, that built a proper brand image for Razorpay on YouTube. And we ensured that the integration experience is happier. I won't say it's positive, because a positive is just okay, we are getting this done, it's done, that's the end of it. But when we're saying happier, it means that the developer is very satisfied with what we've done, and is satisfied with what they themselves have done in the process of completing the integration. We understood the user behavior. We understood that it's not just textual documentation that is necessary. There's also a lot of visual aid that is very important for the developer or any user for that matter to understand the textual documentation. It's perfection. Visual aids plus technical textual documentation is very important. Some other benefits that came out of this: we started dashboard videos project eventually. Now what we've talked about so far are integration videos, wherein we are explaining how the integration works from the start to end. Dashboard videos are slightly different in the sense that we are explaining dashboard related projects dashboard tasks from the start to end. And that also was a very, very large successful project. We've created more than 70 videos so far, and each of them have accumulated more than 1,000 views month on month. Users of videos, it's not just developers, support folks consistently use these videos to get a hold of the product themselves, and also be able to help others when they need it. We've also had new tech writers who joined the Razorpay team, and they also were able to look at the integration videos and understand the integration themselves. So it was a great onboarding experience. The time to teach has been brought down by a very large number. We also added use videos on the dashboard. This is the dashboard of Razorpay X, where the videos that we've created are available in the help widget. And when you click on them, it takes you to the documentation with the link to the video. In case that someone wants to read the documentation, they'll do it. They want to watch the video, that's also available right there. It provides a context sensitive solution to the user, that they don't have to search around for to get the solution that they're looking for. That brings us to the learnings. We had a lot to learn in the starting earlier days. We were not able to get a lot of things right. There was a lot of back and forth happening, and sometimes it was tiring, of course. But we have to keep at it, because if we want to get something done and give a positive experience, a happier integration experience to our consumers, we have to value collaborations and the collaborators we are working with. We worked with a range of teams. We understood what it takes to create a successful video. And collaborations between stakeholders, between users and peers are pretty important, because we had to send the videos out for multiple reviews. And if we were getting tired of it at some point, there was no stopping there. We have to do it. We have to overcome the kind of revisions that a certain video, a certain project will undertake, and power through it. We also set up instrumentation. Shriparna has very rightly called out that even though we're churning out so much of content, there's very little that we're doing to understand the impact that it has created. So we monitored support tickets, we were looking at the comments that we were getting under the videos, and take action on those comments. It's not just about setting up the documentation, getting the numbers, it's about taking the action after we get the numbers. So we consistently prioritized the quality and we were very consistent in the activities that we undertook after uploading these videos, taking them live. We were regularly refining all of that content. When we sat down with integration teams to understand where exactly is it that the users are facing difficulty, we understood customer empathy. There was no way we could have attempted this project at all had it not been for customer empathy, had we not taken the effort to understand where exactly is it that our developers are facing frustration, what step is it that they're going wrong with there. Another thing, always perform a POC here refers to proof of concept. uh, we release these videos in a phase wise project, and that was very intentional, because if something was not going wrong and we had to reverse those changes, we couldn't have done it without a proof of concept, without actually understanding that okay, this video is working out or this video is not working out, there are improvements to be made. So performing a POC will also uh, help you reassure yourselves of the work that you are doing. It'll also give validation to the stakeholders, the collaborators that you're working with, that okay, the effort that we are putting in to help the tech writing team get this done is also very important, is actually bringing out, creating the value that is required and helping people at the end of the day. With that, we come to the end. Thank you very much for listening through the conversation. If there are any questions, please do put them forward. I will take them up.
Hi, Sai. A great presentation. Mridula here. So,
Yeah.
which tool did you use to create this particular video? Is it just YouTube, or you uploaded it to YouTube? How did you go about with the
We
process of generating the video?
We started with Camtasia. There were other tools that we also evaluated, and this was pre 2020 when AI was not a very big thing. So we understood that there were different tools that we had to look into, and we finalized on Camtasia. And we used Camtasia to create videos. We got the raw file from the integrations team. We edited it manually. Got the files from the marketing team as to what is a good branding that we can have, and ultimately uploaded it to YouTube and then embedded it onto docs.
Also, although you have not showed the video, but from the snippet or the shot of the YouTube, it seemed there is a human face, like a real human face there.
Mhm.
So, what kind of preparation does one need to go through to be able to, face the camera and narrate it instead of just being the voice behind the presentation?
So, even though there is a face on the thumbnail, we have, if you notice the video, there is no human face that is talking there. We were intentional about that
I
because
see.
we want developers to be able to focus on the integration rather than looking at someone and be able to follow them. To
Okay.
put the primary focus on the integration steps itself, we
Okay.
enabled voiceover and closed captioning.
Okay. So it was just for the thumbnail, there was a face.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sai, Raj
Any
here,
other?
quick question. Uh,
Yes.
so before you conceptualized and kind of made these videos, I'm sure there must have been some kind of groundwork or
Hmm.
a research gone. And so I just wanted to kind of get your inputs on. Uh, did you have any kind of survey or any kind of interactions or some sort of forum with the key stakeholders like your developers or maybe a bunch of random customer groups to
Hmm.
identify, hey, what should be the length of this video, for example? Or should we kind of break this down into, I mean, I did quickly check out the video. It's very nice. What I really like this, it's broken down into different chapters. I can specifically go to one section. I don't
Hmm.
have to worry about where that part comes in. So that's well done there. I just want to understand, did you guys do any kind of research or before figuring out, hey, we're going to use this format to structure the video. This will be the length, and these will be the number of videos which we're going to create to cover these aspects of the product.
Great, great. Yeah, that so most of our inputs came from the marketing folks themselves. They had some idea of what kind of videos are well received by users. So they were able to help us with a couple of tutorial best practices. The rest of the work we did by attending integration calls with the integration teams. Now, what the integration team does is that they sit with the developers to help them debug a certain issue. And when we shadowed those calls, we didn't even ask them what is happening. We shadowed them. We looked at uh, we looked at it from a developer's perspective. What is happening there? How are they starting out? And where is the area that they're getting stuck the most? And we understood that that is the key area of focus that we have to make a video for, to let the developer unblock themselves. So those were our two main sources of research that we did, and it helped us a lot. Eventually, we also undertook other POCs with different other tools, different other videos, tutorial videos that we could refer to understand how people are doing their tutorial styles. So these were the inputs we took, and altogether we've refined. The original video is not quite what we imagine now, the quality of output that we are able to put out now. So it has refined slowly. There are other inputs that kept coming on. But overall, to answer your question, it is marketing folks, user interviews, integration calls, and a little bit of our own research from watching other tutorial videos.
Great. Thanks, sir.
Any other questions, folks?
Hi Sai, Ganesh here.
Hi,
Great
Ganesh.
presentation.
Thank you.
Just one question. You mentioned that all the technical writers went through a training to learn how to edit the videos. So I just
Hmm.
wanted to know, like, what source was used to learn how to edit it? Like, was there any platform from which you learned, or was it just YouTube?
We are tech writers, so we understand the value of documentation. We refer to Camtasia documentation to get things right. There was also a lot of trial and error happening because we weren't able to understand the tool completely from just watching YouTube videos or tutorials or etc. It helped us a lot, sure, but we also wanted to add something that's different from other tutorial videos as well. So most of the help that we received was via trial and error.
Yeah, thank
Does
you.
that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, folks? If there are no more questions, thank you so much. I hope you were able to understand how Razorpay was able to create value uh, using documentation, and a very specific kind of documentation, which is visual documentation.